from our studios here in Accra on your multi-TV Joy News Channel 006. I'm sure most of you watched the State of the Nation's address by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana. And I have heard since then, received actually so many text messages, and many of them commending the President for a good work done. And I'll take this opportunity to also say thank you, Mr. President, for that powerful delivery on the State of the Nation's address. Well done. Some also had some reservations, and that is why we are here tonight. Indeed, if everybody is to like what the President said or were to be satisfied, I'm sure this program would not be necessary. And so we are here to deal with the reservations and to clarify them, give a better understanding to an otherwise, a complex matter. And so tonight we'll be dissecting, as it were, the State of the Nation's address. Make sure we take it to the lowest fraction so our viewers can better appreciate. I'm sure that some other things, an attempt to mar this wonderful occasion did not succeed. All of you are aware of what I'm referring to, but we will not waste another second on this platform to even turn our attention to that. I think there are much more serious issues, such as those outlined by the President in his address, and that is what we will concern ourselves with tonight in this studio. So in this studio tonight, I have been joined in by the UK Ireland branch of the NDC, the whole chairman of the whole of the UK Ireland branch of NDC. So you can imagine the kind of personality I have in the house tonight. I'm referring to Mr. Horace Ankra. This is his first time on my show, so we are very blessed tonight to have the UK Ireland chairman branch of the NDC. Also in the house is Mustafa. The whole of this year, he hasn't been here. Yeah. So happy New Year, Mustafa. Most welcome.
Thank you so
Mustafa
much.
Abubakar is the PRO for Maslock, and also both of them members of government communication team. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time here.
Thank you.
The President touched on so many sectors, all of the sectors really, but I'm sure we can't do that within 1 hour. So what we will do, we'll attempt to take that which we think are most pressing. And so, Chairman, education is very dear to the President, I'm aware personally. He made mention of 400,000 laptops, amongst other things. Really, were you convinced by the policy proposal the President, outlined in his State of the Nation's address?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I think the plans that the President has for quality education is something that we should all be very happy for. I think that when we are referring to the quality education that the NDC and President Mahama has been talking about, and the access that he's been talking about, it's not just about 400 laptops. It is a huge step by government. It is a step that has to be appreciated by all. And I believe that those who are going to benefit will certainly enhance what they have in store for themselves and what government has in store for them. But I think all in all, the President also spoke about access, quality, education. He mentioned about teachers. He did mention about the curriculum. He mentioned areas that every educationist who is thinking about quality would actually look at. He also mentioned curriculum. So I believe that in its totality, the President was actually talking about what we have achieved so far as a party and a government in the area of education, and the plans that we have for the nation in the area of education. Ali, you agree with me that when we talk about education and we keep talking about quality and stuff like that, the ordinary Ghanaian doesn't want people to talk too much. The thing is this: what do parents want? I believe that every single parent out there simply wants a good running school. And a good running school is about, first and foremost, the access before, and then the quality. Now, when we talk about quality that the president has been hammering on, it covers the infrastructure, teachers, curriculum, what I refer to as internal policies for every school to adhere to. And somewhere in his address, he used the word monitoring. And that is key. That is key. But what do we monitor? We monitor the internal policies that we put in place for schools to implement. So I believe that when President Mahama is talking about quality education, from what I heard today and from what we have achieved in the past, I think he knows what he's talking about. And I would like to see all these things implemented, especially when we talk about monitoring. I really liked it when he used that word came up. I think when we talk about a good running school, which is very, very paramount to the president and to the NDC party, we are referring to basic things. Digital education, the computer stuff that the president was talking about, very key. Telephone, key. Do you know that in today's education, if somebody even should say that it is very, very important for a school to have a landline, or I think these days in Ghana you do have what these mobile phone landline kind of system. Landline, yes. Yeah. He mentioned that sort of thing. In today's world, if a school doesn't even have a landline, telephone system, that school is not well run. Because if Amma did not attend school, how am I going to call Amma's mom? So, President had so many things in mind that when put in place, I'm not going to bother myself to even drive my kid to GIS. The school around the corner is good enough for me because it is well run. That is key to what parents. Now, you then realize that if President is talking about a well-run school, and that is what is on his heart, then of course he's also looking at the relationship between the teacher, the school, and the pupil. On one side, and parents on the other side. In the middle is the inspector.
Okay.
What we don't have, and I know that President is talking about, is where there will be a relationship between these three. Anytime that you have that connection between an inspector and the pupil and the parent.
I know of the education inspectorate, directorate. I don't know if it's functioning.
Well, I think they are all there, but what is important is that you realize that these things aren't functioning. And this is not the first time that President has actually shown interest in making sure that certain things are put in place so that they will be monitored. Okay. It is key. So it is very, very important that that sector is actually oiled so that at least it will be functioning. When it does function, every single school will be well run. Every single school in the country will be well run, and we wouldn't bother ourselves with having to pay fees here and there, and parents are not sure whether kids have gone to school and stuff like that. Now, he's a digital president.
Indeed.
And I believe that when he talks about digital schooling or whatever it is and what he stands for, he is very, very digital. What I know that he wants to put in place is having a system where almost every school has a software that is going to manage the school properly.
Okay.
When we talk about software, a software that can have even an SMS functionality that could help school management to even contact parents. a software that you could sit back in your office and monitor your child's progress in the school. These are all things that I know that President Mahama is going to make sure that when we talk about quality education,
and so
we really mean quality education.
To you, the addition, the mention of 400,000 laptops is in connection with this?
The 400 laptops is in connection with this. A child should be able, when we talk about internal assessment kind of policy in education, these are some of the things that we are talking about. Now, the child could be able to sit somewhere with the laptop with his or her password, check his or her own progress, check whatever at all it is that he or she want to sort of protest against her or his results, and then move on. Parents can do the same even from the office. So, quality education that President has been hammering on, there are so many policies that are going to be put in place, which I believe that if he has to touch on, we would have still be in Parliament.
I'll come back to talk about the issue of energy or jobs, if you like, and we'll see whether the present vision is indeed consistent with the content of the NDC 2012 manifesto. Mustafa, the health sector was not left out. To you, what would you say was most striking and perhaps impressive, that you were very reassured that the president indeed is committed to his promises that he made?
Well, thank you very much, Ali, and good evening to our viewers. Let me just start by saying that when they talk of the State of the Nation address, what we mean normally we say is where we came from, and where we are and where we hope to be. We quite remember somewhere last year, the president gave his last State of the Nation address on behalf of the, the former president, President Mills. In that particular State of the Nation address, he didn't go into details, and he assured the people of Ghana that this time round, I'm sure that is in the next month or two, which is today, he will be able to go into details and realize that this State of the Nation address was close to about 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes. And I must say, I do have my heart for the president for the vision he has for this country. I think that the NDC has already been showing to the people of Ghana that we always want to walk the talk. We don't normally talk and then go to sleep. You look at the issue of health, as the president mentioned in his address. Ali, if I want to tell you, as we speak today now, because ministers are now being appointed or ministers have been sworn in, the state of our health sector as we speak today is that we have 160 ambulances that were purchased by the first NDC administration. And quite remember that the president told you at home when he was launching his manifesto that the first 4 years, which was led by His Excellency, the late President Mills, was just for us to be able to lay the foundation. And that in the next 4 years, we were going to build the structures on it. You have a government that come with a 35 trillion debt that we came to meet. When even the reserves were depleted to about 1.8, months, as compared to the 3.8 months that today we are having today. You realize that the government was able to amass resources to be able to purchase 160 ambulances for the health sector. That is, I would say, an unprecedented achievement. You again look at the fact that the president, within a short period of time, had to help in terms of helping establish a 100-bed hospital at Tishinungwa, which has to do with malaria. You quite remember when President Obama came to town, he had to go there with his wife to be able to look at some of the patients there. The same NDC government, led by His Excellency, the President, made sure that we took about 250 students to Cuba to go and train them. And these students are coming back again, going to our villages, our rural areas to help the poor. And especially where it was so much of interest to me, had to do with the fact that our women who were sent, that's the Muslim community women, because you realize that when it comes to gynecological issues, most of our Muslim women do not allow the male counterpart. Yeah. And so the president said that this is the time that we need to get more of the Muslim women, go and study medicine, go and practice the medical medicine, and come back home and help to deal with your fellow women counterpart. And I drove my heart for the president. That is the state of the nation in which we are today. Not to talk about the 1,300 chip compounds that we have across the country out of the over 4,000. The president, of course, reiterated that within the 4 years, we established 10 polyclinics and established 12 district hospitals across the country. Go and ask the 8 years of the MPP, how many district hospitals did they establish? Even when it came to regional hospitals, not even single one. We can point to the fact that in the last this administration, which had to do with Jerry Rawlings, we came and then we saw the regional hospital in Ho, We built the regional hospital in Sunyani, a regional hospital in Cape Coast. MPP came for 8 years with all the HIPIC monies that were given to them, all the debt that was wiped out. And even though they came to power, they had another 5.something billion Ghana cedis of debt. They didn't even give us one single regional hospital in the region that we could boast, they could boast of. So we are saying that what is the president saying? We've laid the foundation for you in between 2009 to 2012. This time around, we're saying that between now to 2016, what are we supposed to be doing? He's saying we're going to construct a 600-bed teaching hospital at the University of Ghana.
Okay.
If somebody says that, oh, how are they going to do it? We've done it. We did it in the first time. 100 hospital bed in Teshi, you can pinpoint to it. Even when you go to Winneba today, there's a massive, hospital that has been built in Winneba. So we have a track record. So when we say that we're going to build a 600 hospital bed in the University of Ghana, it means that we mean it and we can do it. Okay. When we promise the people of God, that we're going to build a regional hospital in the Eastern region and Upper East region, at least we've done it in the past. We had regional hospitals built, and we said, of course, this time around, we're going to build a regional hospital in the Eastern region and an Upper East region, and even continue the work that has been started on the Upper West Regional Hospital, which, of course, has been left. So those are things, and not to even go further. People who are living with HIV, okay. There is estimated that there are about 220,000 people living with HIV, as we speak to you now.
In Ghana.
In Ghana. And the president is assuring that these people are going to be put on the National Health Insurance Scheme, free of charge, okay, for them to be able to access the antiretroviral drugs, which is so much expensive for them to be able to, some of them, to be able to acquire. And this is a mark of a visionary leader. And when you look at other issues that the president, of course, has said, it's about the fact that, yes, we built the Volta Regional Hospital. What are we going to do about it? There are people who are supposed, we are turning out so many students or medical students who need to come either to Comfort Hospital or the Kolebu Teaching Hospital to be able to practice their medicine. What the next this administration is trying to say is that we are going to upgrade the regional hospitals in the Volta region, the Central regional hospital, and then the Brongaf regional hospital into teaching hospitals that are going to train our medical students so that instead of them traveling either to Kumasi or maybe to Accra, they can remain in their various regions to be trained as medical doctors, and then they can also be able to help their own people. So there are a number of things that the president has mentioned in this State of the Nation address today. I can go ahead to talk about the 6 district hospitals he wants to build in Dodoa, okay, in Fomena, in Garu, in Kumehu, and then in Sekendi, a number of them. So we have a track record. And so I will always say that the people of Ghana, it's so disheartening that today, the first maiden State of the Nation address of the president, the minority wants to walk out. Grant them that. But the people of Ghana who voted for them, okay, in one breath, you realize that you say, oh, you believe in the parliament, in the electoral commission, because he announced your election for you when you were as parliamentarians. But in one breath, you don't believe in the electoral commission because he didn't declare the president for you in your favor. What kind of double standards is that? Indeed. You are parliamentarians. So for me, I think that the people of Ghana would have to hold their MPs, especially the minority, hold the MPs who are now receiving 50,000 Ghana cedis as rent allowance to be able to sit in 72,000 increment for car loans and whatever. And you go and sit in parliament, and the work that the majority are going to do today, full-time job, they're going to be paid the same way you're going to be paid at the end of the month. Why? That is cheating for me. The majority is sitting in parliament, doing every business, sitting in to listen to His Excellency the President, and then you only come and sit and say you're doing government business. I heard one of their is it a minority, deputy minority leader? You mean Nitiwo this evening, saying that, yes, they were doing some government business today. Who sends government business? I don't know what government business happened today in Parliament, apart from listening to the... Very well. Because Parliament starts sitting at 10. Very well. And the President's speech was read at 10 o'clock. Yeah. And so I do not see when they did what. Even if there was a government business, who brought the government business? It's the executive that will bring the government business. For the majority leader and the committee members to sit and look. So I want the people of Ghana to know the kind of double standard that when it comes to the largesse, their monies or whatever, you realize that yes, they will go and sit in and participate. But when it comes to issues that has to do with the fact that Article 64 says that the president is the president of Ghana until otherwise overruled by the Supreme Court, which of course I believe and I doubt, because the people of Ghana, of course, went to queue and then give the president a mandate. I don't foresee that. But even if something of these things will happen, whatever decision the president has taken is going to stand. But I think that will be going into details. The president has started on 4 thematic areas as the pillars. He said he's going to put people first, which of course we've said it. We're going to have a strong and a resilient economy. He said he's going to have, an expansion in infrastructure, and then a transparent and accountable governance. These are 4 thematic areas that the people of Ghana will have to hold us onto, and we can assure them that we're going to deliver in that direction. Okay. There is an issue that coming back to the education.
I wanted to, did the president issue regarding the 200 secondary schools and the building of one university in Akufado's hometown, were those issues well captured in your view as in practical measures and how to attain that within the shortest possible time?
Yeah, Ali, before I touch on that, one area in the health sector that the President touched on, which I think is to me is the best, was when he spoke about us pursuing the implementation of the Mental Health Act. That is something that to me is very, very key in this country. If you look at the way that our mental homes are like and the way we treat these people, I think it's about time something is put in place where mental health will be taken very, very seriously. So I think it's a very, very good thing that the President did. Now, talking about the 200 schools and the university that will have to be built, well, it's key. It is something that we have said already, that is what we stand for, access. Yeah, and when we talk about access, we are not only talking about infrastructure. We know that money matters is also key to that. Now, if you remember, he did mention PPP, which is brilliant.
Public-private partnership.
Yes. Now, one could say that I want to build 200 schools. Yeah, it's a promise, but you might not have the money.
That would be dangerous.
That would be dangerous. But this is a president who wants to implement that. It is a task, not only to the NDC and the government, he has taken it upon himself as a personal task. Now, for you to PPA it, it is the same way as what we call free school system. I'm not talking about free education. No. Don't get me wrong, viewers.
I get the distinction clear.
Yes, it's something that we call free school. Now, in his speech, he mentioned what the churches, big businesses, and stuff like that. You can approach them because you don't have the money. You can approach them. They build the school. You put in the teachers. You pay the teachers. It's like mortgaging the whole thing. And then what happens is that as you go along, you gradually find the money. You pay for the site. Okay. It's government school. So it is a brilliant idea that will speed up that process. Having said that, you remember that he has actually put 3 wise men in place.
Yes.
Now, that tells you that these things are now task-oriented.
I've been told that they are now termed MP3.
Okay.
The MP3 is for Titus Global, who won by 3 votes, in terms.
You understand? Okay. Now, for somebody to put individuals there to tackle certain things, it's telling you that he is not regarding those things as a 9-to-5 kind of business. He is looking at these things as a task. This is the time that we're going to finish this. This is when we're going to begin it. So, somebody like E.T. Mensah, make sure of the 200 schools. I'm going to use PPP kind of system. Fine. Okay. I'm looking at finishing it by 2015. You start from your 2015 and you work it backwards to now. By that time, it is finished. So it is a brilliant thing that I believe that within that 4 years, the 200 schools will be seen up there.
We'll go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll attempt to talk about energy. I know it is very dear to your heart. You want to know whether or not a dundum nubejai. So stay with me. I'll be right back. Hello, welcome back. In case you're just tuning in or you're late, this is Majority Caucus. We are live on your multi-TV, and we've been discussing the State of the Nation's address as delivered by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana. Issues discussed so far concerns education and health. But before I go back to the studio, as part of the delivery, the President made mention of that this year's last year's election, was the most free and fair, as judged by both local and international observers. And it saddens my heart to announce that later this evening I heard some comment from the MPP to the extent that the president could be in contempt of court because he's commenting on the case before court. I don't want us to talk about, because it's funny, it's petty, it's ill-informed, it's illogical, it is of no substance, it's baseless. Let's just forget it. But I'm saying that what would be the option? Do they really expect the president to say otherwise, when indeed what he said is what is existing? This will be another matter we will discuss in the coming days. Let's come back to the State of the Nation's address. Mustafa,
yeah.
Energy, lights, water. What is happening? Infrastructure.
That is really,
people want to know. Doomso. They want the president to give them concrete assurance. They don't want to hear the policy. They don't want to hear the grammar. They say they are fed up. They want practical measures. We will do this by this day, and the problem will be solved.
Well, I think this is one of the areas that is most challenging for the NDC government. Very, very unfortunate. All of us need to, as it were, work around things to be able to make sure that this thing is restored, because it's affecting everybody. Ali, and I will give you a little his background or story of the late President Mills, and that's the extent to which, when this energy thing touches him. And as His Excellency also said today, at one point in time there was some lights off, and he lives at Reggie Manuel. There was a white man who came to visit Spilgabra, or I think it was Kosibotri or Spilgabra, one of them who lives by, I think it was Kosibotri. And then when the white man was going to escort, or Kosibotri was going to escort the white man, there was lights off. So the Kosibotri was saying, oh, this is the president's house. And apparently the president's house was also off. And so the white man was saying, why is the president's house in darkness? Okay. And so Kusi told him that, well, he can't give him an answer right now. And so the next day, Kusi went to His Excellency, the late President Mills, and asked him why your light was off yesterday night light off. He said, hey, I'm living with neighbors. And if my people are sleeping in darkness, and I'm the only one with light enjoying, what do you think people will think about me? That's the extent to which this man has come down to earth with the people. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has just said today that he's having sleepless nights. I mean, because of this energy headache. Apart from that, you realize that we shouldn't think that it is for only sleeping or comfort. The energy, the industry that we are having today are unable to function at full capacity, and we cannot generate our own revenue to be able to export, or maybe our production to be able to export. And so you realize that the nation is not able to achieve its growth target at the end of the day. God, if Unilever is not functioning, Nestle is not functioning well, or Valco or something is not functioning, everything comes to a standstill. And so the revenue that the president or the GRA would have to be able to, collect for us will definitely be down. So the president has said time and again, has given deadlines that, God willing, and it's not like we don't have a track record. I always say, why? Within the last 4 years that we came to power, we extended electricity to 1,700 communities since we came to power, from 2009 to 2012. 1,700 communities. Within, as I would say, electricity was increased from 54% to 72% within the NDC administration. That's last 4 years. That was about 18% increment. And the MPP within 8 years, within 4 years, 18%. The MPP within 8 years increased electricity to only 11%.
That's big.
This is not to, I'm telling the people of Ghana who are watching, this is not to justify that. I mean, I'm saying this because probably we don't want to appreciate what is happening. We are all in darkness, and we are all finding ways and means to resolve it. But this is the extent to which the president said that the West African gas pipeline was an act of God. I mean, you and I know that what happened last year, August, where a ship dug,
unexpected.
Unexpected. And we had to be losing this about 200 megawatts of,
and I think even two of our
engineers died.
I
mean, because in attempt to be able to draw the water out of the gas pipeline, I mean, they perished. And that's why the president was like, well, he sent his condolences and sympathies to the family. This is the trying moment that we're trying to be able to resolve the situation. Beyond that has to do with the fact that, of course, there are some substations that have to be shut down for maintenance, regular maintenance. And one thing, Ali, you need to know is that day in, day out, businesses are growing. Ghanaians are entering into, businesses, more or less like the pure water. Take example, the pure water industry. Today, somebody wakes up and says, I'm going into pure water. And he has to have, he has to have his own machinery. And so the load that is within that particular area then comes down. Another person says, I'm going into probably manufacturing of shoes. Then the load comes down. The demand for light or electricity is going so high.
In essence, if I get you right, we have the same power capacity, generating capacity, yet businesses are expanding.
And so you realize that the moment business is expanding, then it brings pressure on one substation and then it blows up. You understand? And so they try to repair it, and when they're going to repair, that is where they have to do load shedding. The president has said, and let nobody's, I have the statement here that he said, oh, load shedding was going to be a thing of the past.
Yes,
within a year. Yes, he said within the next administration, which is this time round. Okay. It means that he's saying that within the year or within wherever, load shedding is going to be a thing of the past. You know, but it doesn't say that he didn't say anywhere that there's not going to be light off, because light off could come as a result of somebody going to steal maybe the cables from somewhere, or go intentionally to go
as some years in Tema.
Yes, as we see, or we heard some MPP.
I'm not saying it was caused by Tema.
Yeah,
the incident took place in Tema.
Yeah,
he was actually bent to death.
Wow. Yeah, of course.
There was light off and wanted to go and steal the cables.
Very well.
And then the light suddenly came.
Very well. And as we have also heard recently, during the election period, somebody going to put a bomb under a transformer, what does it mean? And so if a transformer is, it's on fire today, then why would an individual, a Ghanaian, go and try to put some explosive under a transformer? The same transformer that is providing light for you and I to be able to operate, have a sound sleep, go about our business. An individual, because you are against the government of the day, want to go and put flames onto a transformer. But the president has given assurance in the State of the Nation today. He has said that within the next within the year, 500 megawatts of electricity will be added onto the grid, because right now we are having about 2,444 or 41 megawatts of electricity, and the same by the time we end 2016, about 5,000 megawatts of electricity would have been added, because that is the capacity that we need to be able to operate at full time. But in the short term within the year, 132 megawatts of electricity is going to be gotten from the Tadi, that's what they call the Tadi thermal plant, by the end of March. And he said 130 megawatts again will be brought from B hydroelectric by April, and then another 2 megawatts from solar park at Navrongo. These are things that he has said is going to happen within the year. And of course, I will say to the president, these are the technical people who have given you their word. And if at any point in time, these people, because these ones are within our mandate, with the West African gas pipeline, which of course there's going to be a repair by the end of April, as we said, it's beyond our mandate. But the ones that are within our mandate, as a member of the NDC and somebody who wants to make sure that the president's vision is fulfilled, I say to His Excellency the President that for all the technical people from VALCO, from VRA to GRICO to ECG, who gave you these timelines, if they fail you,
they should be held accountable.
Then people should be held accountable, because we cannot go again and tell the people of Ghana another story again,
but
to say.
Many people are saying President must fire some people, he must sack them.
I agree.
That they are not.
I agree, because I can tell you, I made a phone call, Ali, last week. This week Monday, we happened to make a phone call, went to the 4th station of ECG, and then the one who was at the 4th station made a call. Made a point that, hey, you guys have to wake up. There is some kind of a sabotage, and Ali, let me tell you. You live within probably, let me say an area, Newtown. And then my good brother may be living maybe in East Legon. If it's time for your load shedding, you're supposed to be on today. Some people maneuver to take your load shedding to be given to the one at East Legon. And then they go for some kind of little peanuts from the people. Yeah, that is what is happening. Especially when, for instance, let's assume the people who are working within the substation or the force room live within a particular area. And they're supposed to be off today. They will take somebody's debit and credit them so that they can be on today. And then when you call, that is what the guy told us when we called, my friend and I, and said, there are some sabotage, and they find some excuse and blah, blah, blah. That is what is happening. There is sabotage, manipulation. And so for me, I think that the president needs to make sure that he tells the people, you've given me a timeline within the year, you said by March, by April, and so. I am holding you accountable, but notwithstanding that the president has said that we are going to give 20,000 solar lanterns to the people of Ghana, especially the rural areas. 20,000 lanterns that will be able to let them move away from the kerosene aspect, which of course is so much of a health hazard to them, and then be able to use the lanterns to help them within the rural communities. So there are some kind of mitigating measures that have been put in place to help our people.
I'm sure if I allow you, you will never finish, because it looks like it's an endless tour list. But Chairman,
yeah,
let's look about jobs. as part of the NDC manifesto, there's somewhere like a strategy to use the supply of energy to create jobs in terms of the mining industry. I don't know if that has been captured in the statement. In your view, have you been convinced by the president today that indeed this dream is achievable?
I am convinced. Job creation in itself is about creating an atmosphere that wouldn't, or an atmosphere that would not be, let's say, an atmosphere that is just going to be that for government to make sure of employment. If you remember, today, the president was also talking about the private sector. Now, the president has a business head.
Okay.
That's one thing I like about him. He has a business head.
Before you continue with the business head explanation, let me take a quick break. I'll be right back. Hello, welcome back. This is Majority Caucus. Still with me here, Ali Dawood, your host for tonight's discussion. And in the studio, I'm with the PR of Maslog, Mustafa Abubakar, and the chairman of the UK, Ireland, the whole of UK and Ireland, NDC branch chairman. Chairman, you're on the floor talking about job creation.
Yeah,
the president is a business head.
he has a business head, and what I've noticed about the president is that he has a huge interest in the private sector. Now, when we talk about the private sector and we're talking about jobs, one of the areas that you really want to look at is, what do you call it? Not franchising, but actually looking at those who can't further their education, i.e. going into university, but then government creating an atmosphere for the private sector to actually get them into apprenticeship. Gone are the days that you're going to look at the master and boy kind of apprenticeship. But I've noticed that president is also interested in the kind of apprenticeship that is of a very, very high standard. Okay. Now, that will solve unemployment. Now, government is also, or has established a 10 million jobs and enterprise development fund. Now, this is also creating an atmosphere to actually address unemployment. One thing that he said that I was so happy about is the quarterly kind of statistics that is going to come up so that we will actually know the kind of numbers that we are talking that are unemployed. So
for the first time, we will know the rate of unemployment.
For the first time, we have a government and a president who is talking about us assessing the true nature of unemployment in the country. That helps with development. Now, he also mentioned about LESDEP. We all know how far LESDEP has come. The Bupe Share Nut factory and the Aquatia Diamond. But one other area that I know that is going to create jobs is the Commander Sugar Factory that is going to be brought into life. Okay. I remember our Adisado days when General Champon's days when we would go to Commander Factory and then we would harvest sugar cane, make sure that the factory is fed, and we have sugar. Now, for a government to realize that all these sleeping factories has to be brought to life, then this is a government that is thinking about making sure that unemployment is brought to the minimum kind of numbers. So, in these 5 areas that I've mentioned, that is even enough for any Ghanaian at all to realize that we have a government and a leader who is determined to address unemployment. So to me, I was very, very happy he mentioned these areas, and especially the 10 million fund and Commander Sugar Factory. I believe that we are on our way to making sure that unemployment is brought to its minimum.
Let me activate the phone lines and I'll come back to you so you tell me a bit about the economy. You can now join in the discussion on 0302 211 70124. I take it again, 0302-211-70124. Keep the calls coming in. Oh, Mustafa, you want to make a
Yeah, I
point?
want to just make a quick this thing on the economy.
Okay.
I'm just surprised about our good brother Bawumia making a statement recently on the economy because he thought the petroleum price increases went up, and so he had to be heard, and so he
He's
came
commenting
out.
again.
He wrote an article.
Okay.
On that the economy is in disarray.
Yeah,
But let
I saw that.
let me just say to him that as we speak today, the statistics that we've gotten, shows that we still have a single-digit inflation of 8.8%. A single-digit inflation for 30 months. Okay. Inflation has been on single-digit for 30
Hold
months.
on, let me pick this call. I'll come back to you. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Hi, you're welcome to the show.
Ali, good evening.
Good evening, my brother.
How are you doing, Ali?
We are good, by His grace.
Yeah, we thank you all for the good job that you people are doing. Ali, what I want to say is we are urging the president to stamp his foot on the ground. All those idiots at our various institutions who are not working, we plead with the president to fire them because they are trying to disgrace the president in front of in presence of the general public. So we should stamp his foot on the ground. All those who are not working, at least you should fire them.
Okay, thank you very much for your opinion. Hello, I have another call on the line. Hello, Salasi.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
I thank the president for speaking well on today's nation address. He has done well. But we, the NF people, we are praying that he should do well so that he should raise our image so that next time we vote for him. Because if he couldn't deliver according to what he has promised, people will not be able to vote for him and we will lose. So we are praying that he does whatever he promises so that we will continue voting for him.
Okay, thank you very much for your opinion. I have another caller on the line. Hello, Jibril. Hello. Okay. Me Pacho. Can you lower the volume of your set?
Again, people for me and more catcher president. Yes, Pesania, Mamma, one for Ambergo fund to a peso. A friend say, Ghana for, then I Ghana for Nippy. Omunya will be a. I don't know, person, Ghana, yes, and year, Omukwana, or Modiasa. It's me, I make catcher Mukukamusu, Megilana, Kamusu, will like them a president, not the Kamusu minute. Yes, I will get a Musu, will like them a president. Suka the Ghanaians. Na iya fin da zai kawo tashi hankali ba su kada kuma mazaje ba. Yasa ku ga ma president wallahi in su mazaje mu ma mazaje ne. Amma saboda
Jibril, thank you very much for your views there. I have another caller. Hello. Okay, it looks like
I was making the point that the president...
Bawumia again on economics.
Bawumia, because that's what the vice president told him, that he should stop reading textbooks and go to practical aspect. The president alluded to the fact that our wage bill was over 2.something billion when we came to power in 2009. Today, the wage bill, because as a result of the single span salary structure, is 7.5 billion. And that is having a serious toll on the economy.
Okay.
And that's 60.9%.
Allow me to pick this call. I'll come back to you. Hello, Nu.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. I want to contribute to the program.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Actually, I didn't have enough time to listen to the president when he was addressing the nation. But knowing who the president is and what he's capable of doing, I am confident and I think I can go and sleep. But to the minority who, in fact, in my opinion, I believe are very competent and educated, well educated, could use placards like stealers, which I decided to use my dictionary to find that word, but unfortunately I couldn't get it. So I'm beginning to realize that, in fact, the respect I have for them, rather, I think I have to withdraw it and maybe look at them and, with different lanes.
Okay, thank you very much, Nu, for your views. I have my final caller. Hello, Mami.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, Mami. Could you please lower the
How are
volume
you?
of your set?
I'll do the best.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to congratulate the president for a wonderful speech given. And I also like to prompt him to open his eyes because there are so many people sabotaging him underground. Anyone who doesn't perform, he should make sure that person is sacked. And also see to it that those who are around him, you have to make sure that he checks their political colors before he moves along with them. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome, Mami. Thank you very much. Yeah, Mustafa.
Yeah, I was making a point that if coming to even to the ECG issue, I'm just living from the economy because that is what is, having a toll on us. The president has made it a point that irrespective of the huge investments that have been made in the the utility sector, especially with the ECG sector, you realize that we still are not having people functioning so well, or our machines are not functioning. What's happening? Well, you go to buy the credit. He goes to buy the credit. It's prepaid. And so when you don't buy, you don't get electricity. Where does the money go to? So these are issues. And as I said, to run off, let me say the president is a listening president.
So you agree with Mami, my final caller, that there are some grand conspiracies?
I'm saying that there are saboteurs in the system that the president would have to do. That's why I'm saying that he needs to give his people who have advised him, that the technical men from the VRA, Gridco, and ECG, that you give me this timeline, I will not tolerate any excuse again when it comes to the time of delivery. And that anybody who does not perform to duty, of course, has to be asked by the president.
Chairman, is that a view that you share?
I share that view. VRA should be able to tell us how much power they give to ECG. It's as simple as that. Now, when we talk about us having more industries coming up, more businesses, coming up here and there, I think what we can actually do is that when we have the big companies who are not going to be using their electricity at night, they could easily put on their generators to sort of power their servers and their offices, and the electricity diverted to the community. These are simple measures that I believe that if these corporations will sit up and say to themselves that, look, even the doomsday kind of thing is giving a whole president sleepless nights because he cares for the people. They are measures. If you don't have any other ulterior motive, these are measures that you can simply put in place.
So in conclusion, what would you say to those from the opposition camp that they said they will present the true state of the nation somewhere come Tuesday? I've heard some rumors that they have the proper state of the nation, their version of the state of the nation.
Well, I don't think that anybody at all can actually present a better state of the nation than the sitting president. You understand? I believe that when President Kufuor was the sitting president, nobody could have presented a better picture of the state than him, President Kufuor, or ex-President Rawlings. So we are having a true state of the nation from the sitting president. And I don't think that what the NDC has achieved in the past, let's say from 2008 up to 2012, and in the last 3 months, anybody at all can actually question those things. So he has presented the true state of the nation address, and I don't think anybody else has.
Just finally, let me pick your thought, 15 seconds each.
I think
do you think the absence of the MPP minority took away anything or took out the shine?
From
15 seconds.
Don't worry. From 1957 or 66, when the coup was staged, helped by some of their people, they boycotted even the independence, trying to get us independence. They boycotted the fact that Bui Dam should not even be built. They boycotted the fact that Temamoto Way shouldn't be built. Every single thing, the 1992 Constitution, this one that we're holding today, they boycotted it today. They are beneficiaries of it when they had the 8 years. They boycotted every single thing. I think that it didn't mean anything for us. It did not mean anything for us. We're going to serve the people of Ghana.
No.
Do you think it marred the situation?
Not at all. It never stopped the president telling us the true state of what this nation and where he is leading us to. But Ali, before we go, one thing that
I've run out of time.
Oh, okay.
But quickly, if you could make it in 2
No,
seconds.
I was saying that one thing that he mentioned that I was very happy about is the proposal to revise the Criminal Offences Act to redefine corruption.
Okay.
It is key. And if a president is talking like that, then you know that this is a president who means business.
I hope it include Hassan Ayarga's definition of corruption. On that note, we end tonight's discussion, and make a date with me next time, same place. Till then, stay good and be blessed. Bye-bye.